Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Annie and this is Unity Consciousness. Today we're going to be discussing the energy that will be prominent this week, beginning today, the 7th of June, and continuing until the 13th of June, which is Sunday. I think the big star this week is the new moon solar eclipse. It is an annular eclipse in Gemini. Annular means that the moon will be smaller than the earth and than the sun in the sky, and will, if you are able to see it, you will be able to see a ring of fire in the sky. That's going to happen on the 10th, which is Thursday, this Thursday, early in the morning, just before 7 a.m. This is a very much awaited new moon eclipse. It is the second in this eclipse cycle. That will close out this eclipse cycle, or this eclipse season. The energy will be prominent for the next 6 months. However, by the time of the next new moon, near mid of next month of July, so 2 to 4 weeks, this energy will begin to decline. However, the theme will be prominent for the next 6 months until the next eclipse season opens. With Mercury being in retrograde, I have to tell you, I cannot get words out of my mouth. The last 2 days, it's been very challenging. So I'm going to beg forgiveness in advance. Hopefully, I don't stutter and stammer too much for you today. In addition to this eclipse, the second in this cycle, closing out eclipse season right now, it is time for us to set an intention. It is a new moon, so we want to set an intention, a theme for us for the next 6 months. If you know your natal chart, your birth chart, you can look and see where Gemini falls in that chart, and you can set an intention specific to that, where that placement is. If not, then set an intention overall for something that you'd like to attain or achieve over the next 6 months. And if it relates to Gemini or has Gemini energy associated with it, it's that much more powerful. So this eclipse is it is absolutely engaging our North Node. I've talked about the North Node for the last 3 or 4 months, and it is absolutely now's time. It is a North Node eclipse. The lunar eclipse on 5/26 really instigated a lot of transformations, transitions, endings. You saw things fall off your radar, things that needed to be removed from your sphere of knowing, so that you could engage your North Node with new beginnings associated with this eclipse that will be on Thursday of this week. Because we've allowed things to fall away at the lunar eclipse that was at the end of May, now we can be very excited as the new things come in. I know a lot of people who are super excited about this new moon solar eclipse. It is sign of the times, new beginnings. We are absolutely aligning with our life's purpose, which is what the North Node indicates. And that, as well as a collective. It's important to note that the North Node is going to be in our rearview mirror as we continue to move forward up through next January. Then the nodal axis will shift. But it is time now. That 3D, 5D divide is going to continue to get more and more and more prominent. So it's important to note that this really is a North Node new moon eclipse. Set your intention, align it with your life's purpose. If you can see where Gemini falls in your chart and apply it to that even makes it stronger. At the time of this eclipse, there are 5 planets. I'm going to consider the sun, which is a star, a planet for purpose. There are 5 planets in mutable signs. Mutable signs means adaptability. And that, if I could throw all of the elements of this new moon solar eclipse into a pot and melt it down, adaptability and life's purpose would be the 2 things that I would use to say the outcome, the purposeful outcome of this energy. However, with the planets in mutable signs, so that would be Jupiter is in Pisces, as is Neptune. And then the Sun, the Moon, the North Node, and Mercury are all in Gemini. This is very, very, very destabilizing energy. So what can we do with adaptability? You can use it to your advantage. It's an opportunity for you to shift and change. See something that pops up in your sphere that is absolutely appalling to you, or something that you just can't tolerate, and use that to adapt yourself into what would be your greatest good or your highest level of who you are. Remember, folks, that Mercury is retrograde. As I spoke earlier, the words just don't want to come out of my mouth for whatever reason. But this, with Mercury being retrograde, and this is a solar eclipse in Gemini, and Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. It's very much Mercurial energy surrounding this eclipse. So very much in your head, a lot of mental processes spinning, things that just keep going through your head, importantly to note, watch your communications and how you speak, not only to others, but to yourself. Be mindful of that. I want to, because this is Mercurial energy, and a lot of in your head processes, how do you speak to yourself? Think about that every day. What's the B plot that's running through your mind? If there's a misstep in your day, are you cursing yourself for it, or are you kindly getting yourself back on track? Are you showing love to yourself in the process? Let this Mercurial, very, very heavy Mercurial energy direct you towards taking that 5D stance and being loving and kind with yourself as well as others where it comes to communications. And get out of your head if you need to. If your head is just so overwhelmed with so many things right now, step away from the head energy and engage the heart. Get outside. All these things will help you to kind of separate from that energy. But most importantly, think positively and reprogram the manner in which you talk to yourself. By doing just that simple little step, you're going to reprogram also how you speak to others. They are connected. This eclipse is square to Neptune in Pisces, and we've talked about Neptune in Pisces before. There can be illusions or disillusionment associated with this. That's the 3D piece of it, but it's reality. So make sure any information, again, high informational time, Mercurial, Gemini, any information, and I think we're going to be getting a lot of it being handed to us. It already started, excuse me, the end of last month, and it's going to continue through the end of this month. Just fact check. Take a step back and throw a dose of reality into the situation. Does that reality match the information that is being handed to you? Or once you throw it in a blender and you remove all the illusion or the sediment that is of personal interest, not one that's actual fact-based, you'll see the truth of the situation. But also, with Neptune being in Pisces, that means your intuition is heightened. So step into that 5D energy and you let it direct you accordingly, especially if you're getting information that just doesn't resonate well with you. Use your intuition. Connect to source. Do you believe that it just can't be true? Most likely it's not, especially if the information that you're getting is from the interior, from your intuition. And if it begins to get overwhelming, use the creative side of Neptune and Pisces. If you create art, singing, dancing, anything that's creative in nature, to pull yourself out of that challenge at the moment or challenging time, or if it's a week or 2 weeks, take a day off and go do something fun. Connect with your creative side and pull yourself out of that very heady Mercurial energy. Another thing to note is Ceres, who is the goddess of harvest. We've talked a little bit about that in the last video, but it's Sirius is also connected with nurturing, and she is conjunct Uranus, or the asteroid is conjunct Uranus, basically the entire month of June. So be mindful of those supply chain interruptions that we spoke about. Don't freak out, don't hoard, that's not necessary, but just make sure you have enough supplies in your cupboard to last for an extra week if need be. Also, whenever Sirius is engaged, there can be loss associated with nurturing. So you may need to step away if you've suffered a loss of some kind. Nurture yourself. It's important that you do that. Take the time that's necessary to nurture yourself. Also, we've got some Uranus energy here, and again, mixed with that destabilizing energy. Earth events could be prominent. Just be mindful of that. Check the weather before you go somewhere. And just be mindful. Be mindful and aware that we're still in very unstable times, and the energy can provoke earth events, volcanoes, earthquakes, blah, blah, yada, yada. We've talked about this before. Be mindful of it. It's going to continue at this level of intensity for a while longer. With Uranus being in Taurus for quite some time, those earth events will continue, but maybe not to the same magnitude that they are now. It's important. It's very, very important. I want to go back to the 3D, 5D choice that we have, where we elect to put our energy, what path we've chosen. If you're watching this video, more than likely you resonate with 5-dimensional energy. That fork in the road is widening. As I mentioned, the North Node, which is our life's purpose, is connected to, or very, very, very close to this eclipse, and that divide is going to widen. It's going to pull further and further and further away. So if you are enveloped in 3-dimensional energy, or if you really align with 3-dimensional energy, your ability to step back into 5-dimensional energy is going to get more and more and more difficult. Listen, turn off the news. The best thing for you to do is just turn off the news. And, take care of yourself. Take a look at the reality that surrounds you. Are you doing okay? If you are doing okay, there's no need to step into the outer world or accept some of the negativity that exists and let it pull you out of that 5-dimensional energy and into a lower level of frequency or 3-dimensional energy. Next week, we have the second of 3 that will be occurring this year. Saturn and Uranus squares. We've talked about this before. It is a dichotomy of energy. Make sure, we'll talk about that a little bit more as I wrap up, because that is going to be next week's energy, but we're getting there. I can already feel it starting to rev up. Remember that when faced with that dichotomy, that square that's going to exist, choose love. Love is always the highest frequency, and if you choose love, regardless of the situation you find yourself in, be mindful and loving to yourself first. It's gonna serve you well. Love is the highest vibration that you can invoke. Healthy detachment is always good. If you find yourself in a situation that just doesn't resonate with your 5-dimensional energy, maybe it's time to have a little healthy detachment or create a healthy boundary. Remember, use Saturn's energy. That's boundaries and restrictions. Use them to protect yourself and use them to protect your energy. It's asking us to really connect with our tribe, which may not be your family. Put your energy into finding your tribe. Interesting to note that Gemini has to do with the twins. So I've seen it myself with my own personal situation as well as within others, that there's some sibling issues going on right now. We're being asked to choose Gemini 2, twins, 2 choices, siblings. Are we treating people with the same fairness and equality that we would afford a sibling? Is a sibling of ours stepped out or engaging in 3-dimensional energy, and we need to kind of detach from that? That's all part of what's going on here. So take a step back. Like I said, if it gets a little rough, take a step back and serve yourself first. Love always wins. Love is the highest vibrational energy, and step away from three-dimensional. Don't get into the tit for tat. Don't get into the small arguments to see whose ego is bigger. It's just not worth it. Speaking of ego, we've got on Friday, Mars moves into Leo. Leo can be associated with our ego. It could be, but it's also knowing your worth and being seen. An ego is a very healthy thing. An ego is something that is necessary to keep us grounded. When an ego gets out of control in the three-dimensional world, it is the shadow side of Leo. So trying to control external things that you want to promote yourself, all about you, all about me. And you're going to create external things, or you're going to create external things so that the light shines on you, versus stepping into your uniqueness, stepping into what you know your worth to be and who you know you are yourself, and allowing that power to drive you. Not in an egoic kind of way, but just accepting in a very quiet manner your worth, your value, your uniqueness, and how you connect with others in that process. And also holding space for others and their uniqueness. Very important at this time. With Mars moving into Leo, that's where that energy, remember, Mars is the action planet, it's energy. So that energy is going to start flowing in that direction. I expect to see some very over-the-top, egoic celebrity messages come out. Social media could be very much alive at this time with all kinds of messages that may or may not be true. Again, remember to fact check. Remember our Neptune message, Neptune in Pisces, and make sure if you're seeing messages or hearing things that they are rooted in five-dimensional energy. Also, a shadow side of this type, Mars and Leo can unearth insecurities, so that light can be brought to those insecurities so that we can heal them and release them. So if you find that there's some insecurity that you have, let this energy envelop you so that you can let go of that fear. It's not necessary. Love always wins. Let go of that fear. Heal it, even if it's generational. Heal it, release it, and let it go. Step into your own personal fabulousness. It's amazing who you are, and don't you ever forget it. And make sure you step into that with bravery and courage. Keep the ego in check. You don't have to have a big ego to be very proud of who you are, and also shine like the bright light that you are. Now, at the end of the week, very end of the week, Sunday, Venus is going to harmonize with Uranus. Very, very, very wonderful energy. You're going to feel right at home. You are going to be able to appreciate your uniqueness and the expression of beauty that you are. Remember, Mercury is in retrograde, so if all of a sudden out of the blue, if it's a new haircut, great, hair grows back. But if you want to do some things that are kind of over the top relative to procedures, I would say hold off until after that first week in July when Mercury comes out of shadow, because you may not like the outcome of sudden changes to you from a beautification, superficial beautification standpoint. So let's just quickly review. I'm trying not to let this one get too long today, especially because I'm stumbling over my own words. The solar eclipse in Gemini, and with Mercury ruling Gemini, and Mercury is retrograde, and it doesn't leave shadow until the 7th of July. All of this energy is coupled with the eclipse. So you may have a sudden epiphany of an old understanding and seeing things differently. Something that meant something completely different to you 2 months ago, you might wake up and be like, aha, wow, expect that. huge epiphanies, huge shifts. These shifts are going to help you align with that North Node or your life's purpose. So, be welcome. Be welcome to those epiphanies as they occur. Also, with the North Node being engaged here, this is so exciting because these are karmic changes out of nowhere. Sudden new beginnings that you couldn't even have thought that they were coming down the path. They're coming and they're at you before you even realized that they were in your path or on your path. And these will also help you align with your life's purpose. Now remember, we've got Saturn in Aquarius, so and we've got a square coming up. Where have you worked hard and you have really aligned yourself with any restrictions that you may have had? You've understood that those restrictions were in place for a purpose, and you've done your best within them. You've held that high frequency through it. Guess what? It's time for that karmic reward. Saturn is engaged here, and Saturn is going to help with that North Node push, with us working together as a collective to make our experience, but our connectivity to others better, is now going to be rewarded. Karmic justice is here. Very, very, very exciting. So tenacity and hard work, the things that you have worked hard to do, even though there have been restrictions, you keep your head down, you keep grinding. Finally, the payoff is coming. And I don't think you're going to have to wait long for that payoff to be here. Again, we talked about Gemini denoting the twin energy. Expect a lot of choices, this or that. But also, I want you to remember that even though two can act as one, how are we connected? How can the twins be so very individual, but yet connected? That's what I'd like you to think about for us as a collective. How can we be connected? Somebody who has a polar opposite opinion as you do, I'm telling you, there's commonality. What is the commonality? Quit splitting hairs. Quit engaging. What's the commonality that you have? Do you both have children? Are you both married? Maybe you both live on a farm. Maybe you both like trees. I don't know. There's some kind of commonality that I want you to focus on and stay away from the negativity. And also Gemini, the twins, siblings. I brushed on this earlier. We're looking for our soul tribe, folks. North Node, soul tribe. It may be time for us to break away from some of our siblings if, in fact, the energy doesn't match. There's no sense in beating your head against a wall trying to have a relationship with somebody who's vastly different than you. Find the commonality. If that commonality is non-existent, or if the relationship is completely one-sided, that's where the healthy detachment comes in. That's a choice. Make that choice. Detach from a healthy perspective. Keep the relationship. You don't have to cut them off cold in their tracks, but it might be time to just kind of create a little space between the two of you, or other family members if need be. So that's about all I have relative to this current week. I do want to talk a little bit about next week, touch on it briefly. Again, we are going to have the Saturn-Uranus dichotomy. Saturn is in Aquarius and Uranus is in Taurus. So basically the freedom versus control is going to be huge. This is happening on Flag Day. I find that very interesting. So let's just keep that in mind and be mindful of that next week. I think we're going to have some energy coming in early in the week that will be extremely tense. So be very happy with the energy this week and allow that energy to sustain you as we see some things next week that may not be as pleasant or a little bit more intense. Also interesting to note, later in the month, we have a full moon in Capricorn, not an eclipse, none of that going on, but a full moon in Capricorn on the 24th. But on the 20th, Jupiter joins the other retrograde planets. So Mercury, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter will be all retrograde. Then Neptune joins the retrograde planets on the 25th. Now, this is very important. The only planet, the only important outer planet that is not retrograde will be Uranus. We're going to start to feel a bit of a slowdown, time to review, revise, revamp, re. That's what this is all about. But what's very interesting to me is Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all are going to go stationary direct within a week of each other. I believe the 6th to the 18th, so it's a little over that, 12 days, 2 weeks almost. That energy is going to shift and start going forward again. So big plans for October. If you've got some fun things going on this summer, enjoy the peace, enjoy the serenity, be prepared for some review, people popping in from the past, and then get ready for the pedal to hit the metal come October. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the time. I am so blessed to have you here with me today. If you have any questions or comments, please post them in the comment section below. I did go a little long. We've got an eclipse, so I kind of expected that a little bit. Thank you for being mindful of my mishaps, my misspeaks this week. I hope that cleans up a little bit once we get out of Mercury retrograde. And thank you also for your patience with the energy as it exists, and also for your want to understand it. It's very important. Knowledge is key. Have a great week. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you have friends that you think might enjoy this topic of discussion, please do share it with them. You will be, once you click the subscribe button, you'll be notified when the videos are produced, hopefully every Sunday or Monday of the year. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous week. Namaste.